so I'm very proud to represent this country. And I remember every Olympics that I have watched on TV, and I see the opening ceremonies and I see the United States walk out, I would have this like very like strong visceral reaction. Like I would get goosebumps, I would get tears in my eyes, because it's just such a beautiful moment. And
Awesome.
Yeah, so I started when I was 8 years old. So I've been fencing now for over 18 years. So it's been a long journey. And I did gymnastics and dance. That's what my parents put me into.
Okay.
And I was always very tall for my age. So I'm almost 5'10", so I'm pretty tall. And that was not a good activity or sport for me.
Yeah.
I did not excel in either one of those. And so I had a cousin who fenced in high school. And so in New Jersey, there's a pretty large high school fencing scene. And
Mhm.
so my parents, took inspiration from that and wanted me to try fencing. And initially I didn't really like it. Fencing is it's a pretty niche sport.
Mhm.
And, even now it's grown substantially. But, back then it definitely was a much smaller sport than it is now. And so I didn't really enjoy it. Only when I started getting results did I actually like it. When I was younger. Obviously, as I've grown up, I really appreciate the nuances and the intricacies of the sport. But when I was little, I just, I wanted to win. I wanted the medals and the trophies. So that was really my motivation. But yeah, like you said, I started competing, at the local level, doing some small local youth competitions, which grew
Mhm.
to state competitions, national competitions, and then eventually representing the United States overseas at international competitions. So it's been,
So, so the
mhm.
first time you represent United States was age what?
Oh, that's a great question. It's probably maybe 14, 15.
14. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Juniors.
overseas.
That's when and where did you win at that time?
So the first place that I went to was a small fencing town in Germany called Tauberbischofsheim. It's used to be kind of the epicenter of German fencing, and they always had this really big, prestigious youth tournament that all the fencers from pretty much all around the world would go and compete. And I actually won that competition, so that was really exciting and very special for me. But yeah, and then I've just been traveling extensively ever since then.
Ever since then. So do you recall the emotions at the first time and your first competition? How was it?
Yeah, the first international one, I mean, it was definitely a little intimidating because you're competing, it's a small community when you're fencing at the elite level. Everyone kind of knows each other. We've grown up
Hmm.
together
Hmm.
competing. But when you expand internationally, it was definitely a little jarring to meet all these other fencers from different countries like Russia, Japan, France, and
Hmm.
all these different places. But it felt really good. It gave me a lot of confidence to be able to go in and win that one.
So that's pretty much when you say, okay, this is it. This is what I like to do. Now I have a passion. Not like before, like I didn't like it that much.
Yeah. No, I think, as you get older, you really begin to appreciate the sport and its nuances and how, fencing is a very unique sport. It's very physical, but also very, very mental and cerebral.
Hmm.
It's a little corny, but the people call fencing physical chess.
Hmm. It's
And
true. It's true. Hmm.
yeah, and that's because you're always trying to outsmart your opponent. You're always trying to be one or two steps ahead. So, it's all happening in a very short span of time, right? It's just you versus your opponent and you're fencing, and it's very quick and you have to think very quickly. So, um that's kind of where it's gotten
That's
its
that
nickname
that
from.
I learned a little bit about fencing because I mentioned to you before we start recording is that I got the opportunity to have an episode with Coach Vincent and Drew
Mhm.
University. He was telling me
Mhm.
it is very challenging when you are inside, you know, like when you're competing, you want to go 2-3 step ahead in order for you to go to beat this guy or the girl, you know, that you in front of it. And I'm, you know, I'm fascinated about it because, you know, I play baseball, like I mentioned to you before, and he told me, you have no idea how close are those two sports, because he used to coach youth baseball, and now he's, you know, he's still active competing in the Pan American and everything, and fencing, and he says, you know, it's very, you know, close by some movement that you have to do in order for you to compete. But now you competed there. You went to high school. You from, let me see. You from New Jersey. You from New Jersey original. And so you went there, and take me the process, because this is one of the reasons why we're doing this episode, is to talk about, you know, the process between, you know, high school and college. How was that those steps for you? I mean, it probably would come probably you got approached through a lot of universities, I imagine, because, you know, you have history, you championed already, you representing United States. So how was the process from high school to the universities and that thing?
Yeah. So I'd always wanted to go to Columbia. That was my dream school.
Excellent.
That was, you know, largely, it had a very strong fencing program that was close to home. Obviously, you know, it's an incredible school, you know, academically. And so for me, that was always the goal. And so, you know, when I started traveling and competing internationally, you know, I obviously, you know, started to, you know, get recognition from coaches, and they saw that I was, you know, doing well at the youth level. And so when we were allowed to, per NCAA rules, to start communicating with college coaches, that's when we started having conversations about, you know, which university that I would go to. And to be quite transparent, you know, for me, comparatively, it was, you know, I knew where I wanted to go. I had established a good relationship with the college coach there. And so, you know, as long as I had the grades and the academics, there was a spot waiting for me there. So in that aspect, it was definitely, I was very lucky to have a pretty seamless process. I wasn't too stressed throughout the whole recruiting process and talking to coaches, just because I knew that, you know, from a fencing standpoint, my results did really speak for themselves. And so it was really just about maintaining, you know, the good academics.
The academics. So you are close to the 4 or above 4 when you went to Columbus and at the high school level, yeah?
Yeah, no, I had, you know, I had a great GPA, and you know, the standardized test scores met the criteria to, you know, to be admitted to Columbia. So, you know, it was holistically, you know, the coach was happy with all aspects of my application.
With all aspects, excellent. So when you went into so I might, well, you have a bunch of offers probably, but you knew what you wanted. So why did you make that decision? Because the relationship with the coach was good when you start talking to him or her. I don't know.
Yeah. So his name is Coach Offerteague, and he, you know, I had communicated to him the moment that I could start speaking to college coaches, you know, per the NCAA regulations, that I expressed to him, this is my number one choice. I would love to go here if you have a spot open for me on the team. And so I had kind of laid a foundation, and we kept in constant communication. And just, you know, I just needed to ensure that the academic portion of it was enough for me to get into Columbia. But other than that, you know, he was very excited to have me on the team. So I was very lucky.
I imagine I would too. I would too. Now, did you those 4 years at the college level, did you find it challenging? Did you how was that? You know, because you were still competing internationally, right? You're still going out. So you go into school, you're competing internationally, and then you're competing at the NCAA as well. So how that worked for you?
It was very hard. You know, obviously Columbia is a very academically rigorous university. So, you know, I was in the library a lot. It was a lot of work from an academic standpoint. And then I was doing NCAA fencing too, on top of that, traveling internationally. So it was really, really difficult.
You didn't have time for nothing.
No, pretty much nothing else. And, to a certain extent, I felt that, I felt a little burnt out. And then, after I graduated from Columbia, those 4 years of just constant, whether I was going to IVs or NCAA championships or traveling internationally for a competition, I was really, debating if I wanted to continue fencing after college. So I was definitely feeling very burnt out, and, luckily I continued to pursue it and, reach my Olympic dreams. And I'm happy I continued fencing, but I won't lie that there wasn't a part of me that kind of got burnt out from fencing, because it was just so much to handle.
So much to handle, and that's, I watched some of the athletes, HBO has a very good episode on Olympic athletes. And it gets to you guys physically, mentally. It gets to a point that you're like, you know what, I'm done with it. Because it's people don't know the amount of hours, right, that you put on it, and day in and day out working hard. So I admire you because of that, to be honest with you.
Thank
so
you.
I'm glad that you didn't quit, and then you come. So tell me something. Do you always have that passion of going to the Olympics? Do you ever comes to always? Excellent.
Always. Yeah, that was always a dream of mine. It's still a bit surreal. It's slowly hitting now that, we're very close to leaving. We leave, July 16th. So it's just around the corner, and it's starting to really, you feel it, that it's close, but it's always been a dream of mine. And, it's one thing to say I want to go to the Olympics. It's another thing to very seriously pursue it. After college, fencing is not necessarily a marquee sport in the United States, meaning you're not making very much money from doing fencing. So for me, it was, I really needed to take a good hard look at myself and, weigh. Exactly. And if this was something that I wanted to 100% dedicate my time to. And so I was actually, for most of this Olympic cycle, working full time, you need to make money. I can't just be fencing all the time. So, and so when I graduated from college, it was just all these things that I had to think about, how am I going to make money? Is this something that I want to dedicate my life, and just do this and miss all these milestone moments and friends' birthdays and all these things, and just really, really focus singularly on this goal. And I'm happy I did, but it is, going for the Olympics is difficult.
So when did you, because I imagine, like you said, you graduated, you start working. I imagine you going, on your mind constantly, what should I do? What should I do? What should the steps should I make? When did that click that you say, okay, this is it. Let me concentrate right now to prepare for the Olympics?
Yeah. So, when I was working full time, for me, it was almost, it was obviously very hard to balance both. There's a reason why most Olympic athletes and high level athletes can't do it, because it is very, very, very difficult to be balancing a full time corporate job as well as training seriously. But, for me, it was almost as if work was a bit of a distraction from fencing and vice versa. And it kind of helped. Like, I knew the moment I graduated, I had a conversation with my fiance, who's also a fencer and who's actually now my coach, if I wanted to pursue this seriously. And so we decided at that moment that's what we were going to do. And so, work almost served as a distraction sometimes, because it can become a little all too consuming when you just focus on fencing, and then vice versa. Sometimes work could be very stressful. And so I would take out my aggression or frustrations in practice. So it helped in both ways.
Excellent. And then now, how's the preparation? Like, you say, okay, this is it. I need to prepare myself. Did you went into already to the Olympic team and say, I want to become part of the US team? Tell me over that process, because I don't know how they pick you, or how you got in, or do you have to compete in order for you to get picked up? So how that works?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in order to make the team, so it's a culmination of your national and international results for an entire season. So, it's the top four. If we qualify our team, which we did this year. So I will be competing both individually and also in the team event in Tokyo.
Excellent.
But then when you qualify as a team, so you have four, the fourth is the alternate for the team event. And then you have your top three. And it's just purely based on how many points that you accumulate. So it's a very democratic system. It's not like we have also one competition where it's a fence off and whatever the rankings are, that's who goes. That's not how it works. It's a full season's worth of competitions that are added up, and whoever are the top four are the ones that go.
Okay. So, and how long is that competition?
Yeah, so that's the season. It's a long season.
It's a long season. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it spans. It's pretty much it's a full year. And
it's a full year competition. Wow.
Yeah. So it's very stressful, and then obviously you layer COVID and everything that happened with the pandemic, and that postponed things even more. So I know people sometimes ask, because gymnastics and track and field and swimming, right, you have that one competition that qualifies you. That's not how fencing works.
That's not how it works. Yeah. So when did you get the news?
Yeah, so we found out officially April of this year. We had one last international competition that they were able to reschedule in Doha. And so that's when the team was officially named. It was postponed for a full year, which was really heartbreaking and stressful. It was the most stressful time ever. So very relieved.
I can't imagine you just waiting for that news. Did you feel good? Do you feel relieved? You say, this is it. Okay, now I made it. But you have challenge now. I mean, don't get me wrong. You make the team, which is very challenging. But now I imagine you have now another goal in mind. Correct?
Yeah.
How you feel? How you feel on that end?
Yeah, I feel very excited, because I know that all the preparation that we've been doing and all the training, I feel very confident. I feel confident on the individual level, also on the team level as well. I mean, obviously there's a feeling of nervousness. This is my first Olympics too, so I don't really know what to expect. I've been leaning a lot on my teammates just to, kind of get their experiences. And two of my teammates have been to both of them went to London, and then the other went to Rio. So they've experienced it. So I'm trying to kind of learn from them, but it's there's definitely an element of just the unknown and some nervousness. I know when I get there, it'll be very nerve-wracking, but I'm also trying to be as present in the moment and just know that.
I trust you. No matter what the result is, be honest, just enjoy it the most that you can, because it's going to be a beautiful experience. And now, take me out on the preparation. On your daily preparation right now. Right now, you are in Colorado right now, preparing. You're taking off soon at the 16th, with less than 20 days, something like that. Yeah. I imagine you get more nervous and nervous every time it gets closer. But how is the preparation right now? How you do your daily routine?
Yeah. So we decided as a team for women's foil that we really wanted to spend a lot of time out here at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. Okay. We felt like we have all the resources available to us here. It's a fantastic training environment. So we've kind of all uprooted our lives and have been living here. We've been coming out, 2 weeks at a time, even longer sometimes, and just training. Okay. And it's been very intense. So we have sessions twice a day. So that is usually a combination of working like private lessons with our coach, doing video analysis, doing drills with one another, footwork, free fencing, and then doing more competitive situations, kind of like mock competitions and team competitions. We're doing strength and conditioning every day. So it's very intense. Yeah, it's a lot of training. So
you're putting a good 8-10 hours daily right now?
I would say right now, Probably around 8 hours. Yeah.
About 8 hours. Okay. Then you get to rest. I mean, what do you do after that? Like you go home?
Sleep.
Really?
No, I mean, in between sessions, definitely trying to get as much sleep as possible. And then we have off days. So we do have rest days. For example, today is one of our rest days. So we try to do something fun as a team together, whether, obviously with COVID, we can't do too many things. So a lot of it is kind of outdoor activities. And so out here in Colorado, Colorado's, there's a lot of nature, a lot of outdoorsy things. Yeah.
Definitely.
So we've been doing that and just being safe with COVID. So it's nice to bond and it's nice to relax a little bit and just let loose for a day.
How many of you on the team?
Yeah, so we have the Olympic team, which is the 4 of us. And then we also have been bringing out training partners. So different women who are maybe on the junior team or, are within the top 12 of the United States. So we've been bringing them out here as training partners and we've been all working together. So it's been fantastic to have these other women. Yeah.
Awesome. So they must be happy. They must be happy just to be part of with you guys right there.
Yeah, no, it's a great experience. And we're so thankful that they, are taking time out of their days to be here to help us prepare.
Which team you think is going to be the most competitive right there when you get, I imagine you've seen videos, you have seen highlights. What do you think? Because, you have extremely good experience internationally. Like you say, it's a small world. You have competition right there. But which one you think is going to be the toughest right there for you guys?
Oh, there's a lot of tough teams. So our first team that we will be fencing in Tokyo is Japan. So that's going to be definitely hard.
the home people. Oh, guys.
Yeah. So that's going to be a bit difficult. The home crowd advantage. They're a young team, but they're also quite difficult to fence. So that'll be a tough first bout for us. France is a very strong team that we've consistently had, issues with, going back and forth throughout the season. So they will be difficult. Italy and Russia as well have very, very strong teams overall. So because there's so few teams that qualify, there's only 8 teams in total, that it's, everyone is good. Everyone is good. There's a reason why they're all there competing.
No doubt. But you always have somebody on mind. Okay, let me see what happened with these guys. Excellent. So now in you're about 20 days away. How soon you gonna compete? Well, as soon as you get to Tokyo.
Yeah. So we arrive, COVID protocols, we can't enter the village too early. So normally we would probably be in Japan a little bit earlier than we are, but we're just a bit restricted with COVID. So
is the ceremony is going to be the same probably because of COVID? Probably not, right?
So what I know is that we will be able to walk on the 23rd at the opening ceremonies. And then the individual event is the 25th of July. And our team event is, I believe, the 29th of July. So
okay.
I don't know what the opening ceremonies will look like, to be honest, but I'm just thankful that they're having it and that we can walk in them because that's a very special experience.
No, I'll be watching. I'll be hooked no matter what time it is. I don't know, probably we have different times right here, but I'll be watching it without a question. I'll be rooting for you guys day in and day out. Even though I'm from Venezuela, I know we don't have many fencers.
Yeah.
We used to have one back in the day, probably 2-3 Olympics ago. He did very good. He became a gold medal in the Olympics.
Yeah, he qualified again. He's going again.
Oh, he did. Oh, wow! I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Yeah, so you have to root for him too.
I gotta try to reach him to see what's the deal.
Yeah.
See how it goes. Excellent. And now, do you right now? You have preparations. You have commitment time with the team. How has been the interaction with the organization itself? Did you feel comfortable? How because you hear so many stories on this, and how you feel with it?
So specifically with U.S. fencing as an organization, they've been very incredibly supportive. Anything that we need, even something as, coordinating us being out here for so many weeks and training at the Olympic Training Center. The logistics are complicated, especially in COVID times. We were one of the first teams that were allowed on campus to actually train. So, U.S. fencing has done everything within their power to make sure that, despite the COVID circumstances, that we're getting the support that we need. So it's been a difficult time for everyone, but we are so truly appreciative of everything that the organization has done to make sure that we're as prepared for Tokyo as we can be.
Beautiful, beautiful. So they've been treating you good. They're better. They should. And now, talk to me about your family. How your mom, your dad, your how they feel, your family and your friends.
Yeah. No, it's been very overwhelming, all the love and support that I've received. All my friends know how hard this has been of a journey and how long I've wanted to be on the Olympic team. So it's everyone's been throwing parties and, it's been very sweet. And for my parents, it's, they both immigrated from the Soviet Union. So they, for them to have their daughter, represent the United States at the Olympics, I think is a very special moment and one that they never would have dreamed of, as when they first immigrated to the country. So they're incredibly proud. It is a bit sad that with Tokyo being closed off to foreign spectators, they actually can't be at the Olympics to cheer me on.
They can't.
Nobody can come. It's everyone, it's
so
only
you're gonna have
Japanese
no crowd. So
spectators.
it's not gonna be no crowd at all at the Olympics.
No, I mean, I think they can have
Only
it's like
locals.
50% capacity. Yeah, for local spectators.
Oh, you kidding me? So your parents are not gonna? Oh man.
No.
Oh no.
Yeah,
well,
it's sad.
That's sad. That's sad. That's a sad news. But I imagine they're extremely happy. They're. I mean, I can't imagine. So they came from the Soviet Union, and do they practice fencing? One of them or not?
No.
Russia has a good team. Do they qualify? I mean, they always been competing in fencing, correct?
Yes, very, very, very strong team. Historically, they've always been a very, very powerful fencing country. So there's a very rich history there.
And they're both from there? Your parents? Yes.
Yeah, both of my parents are from Belarus. Yeah, so they immigrated here when they were both in their early 20s. And yeah, I was born here in the United States, but for them, it's I think it's a very surreal experience to see me be part of the Olympic team.
It will be like me with my son, where I have two boys, one is 10 and another one is 3. I can't even imagine it's representing, any country. I mean, one play soccer, the other one is probably going to be in baseball. I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine, he's very athletic too, and I know he has a lot of energy to burn. But this is something that as parent, you probably I mean, I can imagine their emotions, and then you talk to me personally. What's your dream? I mean, what do you think is going to be the top goal for you mentally, your mindset? How are you working with that?
Yeah, for me, I mean, obviously winning a medal is amazing, and but for me personally, and I've given a lot of thought about this, I want to go out there and just not leave anything on the table, give it my absolute all. It's to not let the pressure of the situation, knowing that it's the Olympics, it's the biggest stage, to get to me. I just want to go out there and be able to, implement everything that I've worked on for all these years and all the things that I've been working on with my teammates and my coaches, and to be able to execute it at the highest level. I don't want to leave the Olympics and feel like, what if, or I could have done more. So that's why I'm giving it my 110% now every single day. hopefully for that to translate in the big moments too.
Excellent, excellent. And I'm totally sure you will. I'm totally sure you will, because I can see it in you. I mean, you look very like, I'm ready to go right now. Bring it in.
Yes.
I can see it in your emotions, your face, your the way that you talk. I love it. I love it. So, and this is probably not going to be your first time in the Olympics. I'm totally sure you're going to keep going. I know it's soon to talk about it, but
Yeah.
I mean,
I've been, people have been definitely asking me that, especially because it's a shortened cycle, right? We're working with 3 years now instead of 4 years. So yes, it's definitely something that's been on my mind. I probably won't give it much serious thought until after these Olympics and after I have time to decompress and just not think about fencing for a little bit. But I don't know yet. I'm 26, turning 27 this summer. Going 3 more years, I'll be 30 years old. And, there's things I want to think about from a career standpoint, from, like a personal standpoint, that I'm not sure yet. So I'll have to give it some thought.
I know, I'm sorry to ask you that,
No, that's okay.
I have to.
That's okay. I understand.
It's like, come on. No, because I mean, it's your first, invitation. So, I'm totally sure, it's going to get you, when you get there, it's going to bring that energy about that, adrenaline, extremely high in order for you to compete and everything. And you're going to want to have some of that later on too.
We'll see. We'll see.
Well, let's talk to your fiance to see what he says.
He wants me to keep going. So
There you
we'll
are.
see.
There you are. You are. Well, I'm extremely happy. Thank you so very much. I mean, like, seriously, this is awesome. Get to know you a little bit more, get to know your story. There is anything that you can say to the kids that probably will listen to this, to the high schoolers, to the college guys, because I'm totally sure, they can learn from whatever you experience is, because it's tough. I mean, this is, to be honest, I always mention this in my episodes. There are 8 million high school athletes in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Not even 10% go to college and play and practice sports in college. So it's a tough environment. And I can't imagine, the amount of people is competing and then going to the Olympics is, it's very low. So tell me something, with them.
Yeah. I think it's really important to truly love your sport, to not just do it, and I hear this sometimes from a lot of athletes, and it's okay, if you don't have ambitions, let's say to compete in your sport afterwards, or make the Olympics or make the NFL or whatever professional sports, like, that's okay. But if you do have those aspirations, you really want to make sure, like, give yourself like a good hard look about why you're doing this. Are you doing your sport just to get into college, or do you love it? Do you truly love it? Do you truly want to be the very best at it? Do you wake up every day and you're excited to train and you're excited to better yourself? And, despite any obstacles that you encounter, is it something that you want to overcome and keep going towards? So I think just, having, and that's something that I had to do. And this was more of a conversation that I had with myself after I graduated from college. Mm-hmm. I knew going from high school to college that I wanted to fence collegiately, that I wanted to compete, at the NCAA and Ivy League level. That was no question. But, afterwards, I had to have a serious conversation. Is this something that I want to pursue? Do I still love this sport enough that if I go overseas and compete and I do poorly, like, can I get over that and use it as motivation? So I think just like being really truthful and honest with yourself and doing some introspection and seeing, do I really love this sport? Do I do it just so I can get into this school? And just being honest with yourself, I think, is very important.
Excellent. I think it's beautiful advice right there, because there is, fortunately, I mean, 2 out of 3 athletes quit, every time, after high school or after college, they're just done, because it's a tough it's competition day in, day
Yeah.
out. So it's something that you really have to be physically and mentally, prepare. And I can imagine right now you being part of the Olympic, because we know we have some pros Olympic athletes that have scenarios. That's something that you have to prepare yourself. Whatever the result is, you have to be mentally prepared. You have to say, okay, this is the next step that I have to follow after what happened with the Olympics, or what happened with college, or what happened with, right? It's important to have your preparation. Be sure of who you are. As simple as that.
Exactly. Exactly. And I would say one other thing that's very like relevant to my experience is that in my fencing, I've always kind of been a little bit of a late bloomer. I did have a lot of success in the youth levels when I was younger. And then it took some time for me to start actually doing well at the senior level, which is the highest level, right, of competition internationally. And, you're competing against women who this is their only job. This is all that they do. They make their livelihood from this. And even, nationally, I was always just on the senior level, ranked 5th and 6th in the country. I was always right below that selection level. I believe I was 5th or 6th, maybe 6th going into, and I wasn't really trying for for Rio, but so I think like always just being believing in yourself. I know that's kind of a cliche thing, but I truly believed that I could do it, that I could break into that level, that I could break into that top 4. And I did do it. I did it the 3rd year of the Olympic quad, which was a very important year. So I could make the world championship team the previous year and all this stuff. So it was a very important time for me to make it. So I think also just, believing in yourself. And if you're not one of those, athletes that may necessarily be winning everything all the time, to not give up on yourself, because I truly believe that like through hard work, through determination, you can get to where you want to be. Not everyone does. Yes, that is the fact of the matter. There's a lot of people that want to go to the Olympics, but I just think believing in yourself and not giving up on yourself is very important too.
And it's unbelievable. It's beautiful what you're saying, because it's true. It's true. It's not like you say. No, you have to, know who you are. Believe in yourself, and because I imagine when going back to the conversation that you say, you were working full time, and you were friends, and so you have to make a commitment. You have to say, okay, should I? Because you have to make a living. You have to pay bills. You have credit. You have to make an income, right? So what do you do between your personal life as professional and as an athlete? What are you going to do? So to make that commitment like you did, I mean, not everybody have that mindset to do it, and it's tough, and the ones that they do, they just love the sports. They just, like you said, you have to love your sport. You have to know who you are. You have to have the capability that you thinking about what are you going to do. I mean, and be sure that you have as well, which I imagine you do, a second plan if you decide not to keep going with the sport, which is extremely important, because that can hit many guys on the mental level, and you probably heard and you probably seen some of the stories, that unfortunately when after the Olympic is over, they're like, okay,
what do I do now? Exactly.
Now, right? So I imagine you do have a plan for that, right?
Yeah, no, I do. I've been, because I was working, ever since I graduated Columbia, I've had a job, and I've been, working on my career simultaneously while training and competing at this level. So, after the Olympics, the plan is for me to return to working full time. And obviously I'll decide what I want to do with fencing, after the Olympics, after I have some time to give it some thought. But absolutely. I think it's, fencing is one of those sports where you have to have a contingency plan, because we're not making a huge salary off of doing this. And so it was very important for me to get a good education, for me to start, laying a foundation for my career, so I would have something to return to when I do retire from fencing.
Excellent. And I like that. And do you ever thought about probably in the future educate fencers, like, talking to, for instance, being speaker, I don't know, promote the sports a little bit more, going out there? Have you thought
Yeah.
about it probably later on?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think there's so much value in sports in general and
Mhm,
shaping
mhm.
a young person. I mean, it's really shaped who I am today. And I give fencing, so much credit for who I am as a person. So I truly, understand the value of sports. And so my fiance, recently transitioned from competing in fencing to coaching. And for him, it's been the most incredible experience giving back to the community to mentor kids. And for me, I would always love to, when I do retire, to have some sort of involvement in the sport, just
Of
because I
course.
recognize how special it could be.
Mm,
And, I personally did not necessarily have like a mentor or a role model in the sport to
mhm,
guide me through
mhm.
everything. And so for me, it's very important. I have some younger teammates who are competing on the youth levels, and it's very important for me to serve as that mentor role for
Just
them.
there, that's beautiful. That's beautiful because, like I mentioned to you, I didn't have guidance,
Hmm.
and you
Yep.
meet you miss opportunities because of it.
Yep.
Because if you have a right mentor, you have the right guidance. Because your parents always do their best. To be honest, I
Hmm.
mean, they probably got you, and they will tell you what to do. But I think you have to have somebody else in
Yep.
order for you to to have that mentorship that you want to
Yep.
have, right? Correct. In order for the athletes sometimes, because I know from my own kid, for more that I know sports, for more that I am, study and talk to people, and I know that me talking to my son is not the same as somebody talking to him,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I know he's a great athlete, but it's not what dad would say. It's about what a mentor or a coach or somebody else would tell you. So I'm totally sure you can be a great mentor. I mean, it's
Thank
too
you.
soon to talk about it. let's focus on what we're doing right now. But yeah, later on in the future, there no questions asked. And
Hmm.
one last
Hmm.
thing. How you feel representing United States, like, because
Hmm.
you have two backgrounds, right?
Hmm.
I know, because I'm the same boat right here. How you feel on that end?
Yeah. I mean, it's well, walking around this campus here at the Olympic Training Center and seeing all these, we where we train here, we're like, we look over where the men's gymnastics team practices, and just seeing all these people giving it their all 100% every single day. And seeing all the history and the greatness in this training center, it fills me with a lot of pride. um, for me, as I said, my parents immigrated to this country from the Soviet Union, and then to seek for a better life for their kids, right? So for me, this country has afforded myself and my family
Excellent.
more opportunity, more stability. And so I'm very proud to represent this country. And I remember every Olympics that I have watched on TV, and I see the opening ceremonies and I see the United States walk out. I would have this like very like strong visceral reaction. Like I would get goosebumps, I would get tears in my eyes, because it's just such a beautiful moment. And
Awesome.
to be a part of that, and very soon, is it's crazy. I'm really, really excited and just proud to represent the US.
Awesome. I love that. Great answer.
Thanks.
Awesome. Now, I'm expecting you to get back to Tokyo, whatever the result is. If it was the medal, even better,
Yes. Yes.
I, if you allow me to, I'll get back in contact with you after the Olympics to see
Hmm.
how everything went, how the
Yeah.
experience was, and what is you desire now after the Olympics. If you allow me to, I'll be, I'll get in touch with you, because I got,
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch you looking on the internet, looking. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
rooting for you.
absolutely.
I'm gonna be
Thank
rooting for
you.
you. No questions asked. Thank you so
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you so very much for this time, Jackie. It's a pleasure having you here one more time.
Thank you.
And I wish nothing but the best and nothing but the
Thank you.
best on your journey. Enjoy as much as you can. Have fun. Have fun.
Thank you.
Not all the
Yeah.
just enjoy, have fun. That's it. Pressure off and have fun. Pressure off.
Yes. Yes. I'll try my best to remind myself. No, but thank you so much for
Uh,
having me and letting me tell you my story. And I'd be happy to chat after the games.